Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel here today. Today we're going to be continuing our Apothecary Diaries journey here with episode 10. Episode 10 I believe. Episodes 10 and 11 I should say. Because I have some knowledge. They don't go together, but they kind of go together. That's what's been told to me. So yeah, we're going to do another couple of episodes here today. Back on the Apothecary Diaries train after last week and its intrigue, I would say. Upon taking a big step back from last week's episode, especially episode 8, I fully understand what we're doing there now, at least a little bit more, right? I think Sal here just like straight up talks about it, so I probably should just jump in here to the comments, and yeah, we'll move from there. But yeah, essentially, let's read this first part here. Felt really unique, very unsatisfying. I felt unsatisfied by the episode. I felt it was a little bit too quick. I felt like we were skipping over stuff and elements of the mystery too quickly, but that is on purpose, right? It is literally trying to do that. It's trying to just touch on a mystery, but then Mao Mao pulls herself back from the mystery. She doesn't want to solve it, right? She doesn't want to get involved. That's one of the main lessons from the father. Let it go, right? But again, Mao Mao can't help herself. She starts to dig a little bit deeper. We could uncover this whole plot, right? That this whole house, like this whole kind of brothel here, is working against murdering this one guy, and she was the one person that came in and stopped everything. And again, that could spur further, right? It could be something a little bit more serious, but considering the client and his, I guess, clout in society and so forth, it could be something else entirely. It could spin off to some criminal organization or something. It could be huge, right? But Mama has to pull herself back from the mystery. She has to go, no, we're not doing this right now. I shouldn't base things off of conjecture, even though every single time in the show her conjecture has been pretty much correct. She stops herself, and that's the important part. That's the part you need to take for Mao Mao going forward, right? It's the push and pull of her personality. Get involved or don't get involved, right? Am I going to try to be nonchalant, or do I truly, really care about this kind of stuff, right? I've got this talent for solving things and figuring things out. How should I use this talent? Should I use it to support Jinchi? Should I use it to, again, progress whatever I think personally in my personal set of morals? Or is that a good way to get killed? Is that how I get killed? Because I'm a commoner, right? I don't have the power to do that, especially in the rear palace. So again, considering all these concepts in the macro makes that episode a little bit more justifiable, I believe. Again, that whole spiel there was stolen pretty much verbatim from Sal here, so thank you for that. This was a good comment, and yeah, this part here was very good as well. Just some circular stuff in the episode, right? The first half, the courtesan breaks her sake cup, and then at the very end, Jinchi breaks his cup with a very similar looking crack. On one level, yeah, I just think you start the episode with a cup cracking, and then you end the episode with a cup cracking for two different sets of circumstances. That's pretty cool. That's good episodic stuff. But here we continue. Both are situations where there was a romantic interest between parties and the other one felt betrayed. So the merchant betrayed the little girl's sister initially, right, by bailing out. And then the sister, again, we implied that she offed herself, which is no good. And then Mao Mao obviously choosing Lee Haku over Jinchi, which isn't really what happened. She's just trolling. So it's, again, one can be playful, one is life or death. What's really the difference there, and so forth. Again, I commented down here that I liked the comment about the cup, because I thought it was very good. So yeah, I mean, I feel better about 8 and 9 now, right? Speaking of 9, I should go back here and look at the rotating flower insert song, and apparently there was some more visuals mixed in that I must observe. So let me go bring that up now. So that's up there. I'm just going to pause on stuff that I think looks newish. Again, that's Lifa crying, sure. That is Lifa. So that'll be Lifa losing the child, and then that's her looking gaunt, sure. Here we go. Mao Mao's eyes into somebody stabbing somebody with a knife, and there's marks on her hand. And then you cut from there to the allergy stuff from Lishu. Huh. Who was stabbing who with a knife? And why? Let's see what that knife looked like. Can I see that, please? Yeah, this knife. Do you keep a knife? Who keeps a knife? Anyway, here's a good one, chat. That's Dad. No, that's Dad, and that's Mao Mao. A very young Mao Mao, I think. So again, I'm kind of like hiding it. Hang on. This one? Yeah. You can see her there. That's mum, no? I think? Because that's dad? That's mum? Question mark? Is that what's going on? Maybe. It's potentially one thing that could be going on. So that's a start. And then this scene here again, the one we saw in episode 1, and something about like there's like rocks on the ground here. I don't know what that's about. But it's like, is it the same lady? Because she's got the marks on the hand as well. Is it all about the same lady? And again, the concept of this scene is like, if I am to die, poison me, because that's how I'd want to go. Does that imply that this person here went in a way that she wouldn't want to go? Question mark? I do not know. So yeah, I was being kind of dumb. There's a fair bit there, I would say, to be watched. Yeah, I just kind of skimped over that last week, huh? Yeah, that's pretty important. Again, pretty obviously pretty important now that I've gone and seen it again. But yeah, thank you for letting me know. For stuff like that, sometimes I'm just dumb. I'm going to be honest with you, completely and totally. I'm dumb. Most of the time. So yeah, I missed that. But thanks for letting me know. It's good. Let's do that Patreon shout out now, shall we? Let's do that. As always, you can be that 1 week ahead by giving me money. Of course, that's what I'm doing here. Give me money and you can be 1 week ahead and watch the next week's Apothecary Diaries video, like now. Many people have done this, up to and including Annie Gregg, Mickey Babbers, Trails++, Anders Harlan, Backslash, Bobbin, Chirpa Ribby, Domobot, Ed, Emily A, Fancy Question Mark, Fleur Nightingale, Fried Rice, Fruit, Gloriana Tenebrae, Glyke, Gus N, Heath, Hex, Ika, Jaakko Järvinen, Joran, Kelvin, Kim Skell, Clem, Nosta, Lou, Mish, Mistake L. Chen, Nailu, Nick, Parnick, Pencil Shop 333, Ron Lad B&K, Saint Lily, Sal, Sam1373, Skeleton, Surrogate Corpse, Without a Net, Zan Echo, Zach, Binshi, Hans Peter, Marsh, Voodoo Chili, Aidan O'Brien, Sinorin, Funny Fat Guy, and Ramen Boy. Thank you to all those people for giving me money, of course. I like money. So, this week on Apothecary Diaries, we've implied that these are 2 big episodes, I think. So, looking forward to it. Should be good. The major thing here was Ardour and her house, the pure consort, right? It's implied that Feng something, that was her head lady in waiting, right? She was the one that had the burns on the arms. She was the one responsible for the poisoning. Some shit's going on and she's involved, and it's the wooden tablets and it's the colored fire and it's the everything there, right? This whole plot has been revolving around her. So I think that the MO is going to be, let's put Mau Mau into that place, have her learn some things, and then maybe get some information. That's what I got from the preview, regardless. So yeah, there's a couple of other things boiling away in the background, of course. We have Jinchi and whoever the hell he actually is. That's pretty important. Of course, we have the Mau Mau origin situation that I'm continuing to look for lots and lots of stuff for, so that's cool as well. And there's general concepts in the past couple of episodes of suicide or murder. What is the difference? What causes somebody to commit suicide versus committing murder? What's the difference there? And so forth. Yeah, so carrying a few of those themes ahead would be a good idea as well. Let's watch this thing, of course. Episodes 10 and 11 of Apothecary Diaries coming right up. Discord, you should talk to me on Discord about the show. And like the video and subscribe right now. Damn it. Alright, let's watch this thing. Let's go. Rightio, I have episode 10 of the Apothecary Diaries up there ready to go. 22 minutes and 50 seconds on this one, so sync up accordingly with your own copy. That, or you have the picture-in-picture version in the description below, of course. I'm using the subs please version. Should be very similar to whatever else is out there. And I'm also just going to do both episodes back-to-back here before going to work. So sounds like a good idea. Let's jump in here with a 3, 2, 1. Radio? 3, 2, 1, go. And we're back for more Apothecary Diaries, of course. There it is, the title. I'm recording. Very good. I have a lot of cups on my desk right now. Yeah. Let's say it's more than 5. That's too many. I should clean more. Only got one mouth. Don't need that many cups. Either way, Apothecary Diaries. Let's focus up. Again, it's going to be interesting learning about a new pavilion, I guess you would say. A new group of characters and consort and everything that comes with that. I think that would be pretty cool. Again, it's a pretty broad show with its themes. I'm kind of waiting for something to tie it all together a little bit more as well, because looking at the opening now, again, I'm thinking about these, like, this kind of dual Mau Mau, right? And, again, her general makeup that she uses versus the makeup that she's got on there. And again, bringing all that together with origins and stuff would be quite interesting, I think. True. Okay, water. Weird looking water. Cloudy water. Starry water. Okay, you're just chilling. Sure. Seems chill. It was definitely a suicide. Oh, really? Ardouin? Oh. Oh, because she's too old? Okay, so the Emperor's like 34. There you go. I see. I see. Yeah, that's not a boy. Yeah, but stating the obvious here, that's peak objectification of women. You are baby machine. Okay, nice speaking with you again, my jolly friend. Oh. Yeah, look how fancy it is. I cannot comment. Yeah, she's very smart. Little pigeon or something? Dove almost. What? Oh. Yeah, I remember. You might. You were pretty scary before. Okay, bit of honey or something. Yeah, okay. Seems pretty good. Is there another issue here? Ooh. I've never heard of allergies to honey. I guess of course it exists. Saved. Thank you, Mau Mau. Yeah. Turns out your conjecture is quite correct most of the time, I would think. Okay. That was very similar to her getting thrown out at Lifa's place. Oh, they're throwing you out to Jinshi, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, committed suicide, of course. No. We went through this song and dance before. Scapegoated, I feel. Okay, pretty boy. Yeah, I thought this may happen. We're gonna place you there to gather info. Yeah, reading between the lines there is very funny. Yeah. What does this one feel like? Yeah, I get that feel, I feel. Oh yeah, you're evil. Fong Ming. Yeah, I was gonna say that. She feels a little bit more masculine than the others. Bit of that shoujo going on there, a little bit. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, she seems cool. Well, maybe cool's the wrong word, but does she? Explain yourself. Of course, ma'am. I mean murderer. I mean ma'am. Mm-hmm. It's not new. It's old. Used. Heh. Yeah. This seems pretty chill. There's definitely not a dark secret hiding somewhere. I'm sure of it. Airing out the books is interesting. You're so evil. She's gonna eat me. I feel like she eats people. Maybe that's unfair to her. Not near you. May wake up with some bite marks on me. Alright, I'll drop it. I'll drop it. Sweet candle. Yes, ma'am. Oh yeah, it's like a sleeping bag or something. It looks cool. Oh yeah, it's like snowing. Vibes. Yeah, what an interesting scene. So yeah, you read between the lines there too. Past her prime. Interesting. Okay. He's not weird, that's cool. Smart. But is that the true reason? We'll see. Yeah, this honey thing's coming through a lot, huh? Very sweet. What are you guys doing? You guys being weird. Yeah? What? She doesn't like honey. Yeah, but you have the honey. And now you're eating the honey. But you're not. You're better than that. He's playing hard to get. Smart. It's always the ones you least suspect. Ostentatiously. Oh my god. Don't be weird. I don't want any fucking honey. Not off your fucking fingers. You're weird. You're weird as. Yo, suck my fingers, he reckons. No. I thought you had my back. Yeah, I was gonna say that too. I'm looking for the escape route. Route. What? What did we do? Yeah. Yeah? What? Yeah. What does all this mean? Bro, what is happening? Explain yourself. Hell yeah. But what did all that mean? Now you got me thinking about the girl that fell off. Pause. You're hella weird. Alright. That moment of stress made you think of a lot of things. Unfortunately, not. Okay, so it's less allergies and more. Okay, just the dislike. No, it is allergies. Shut up, bitch. Two-faced, literally. Dropping the name. Explain. Oh. So of course the thought is right now that um, she knew about the honey allergy and used honey, or is going to use honey. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Who the hell's Luhrmann? Wait, hang on. Okay. Thought so. thought so. But he's a eunuch, so he must have become a eunuch after having you. Well, not having you, you know what I mean. Conceiving. Yeah, I mean, the honey Fengming connection is pretty obvious, I think, right? And then we're going to try to target Lishu again. And then the reasoning given, like... So I'm seeing her motivation is, I love Arduo so much, even predicated on some of the androgynous masculine traits that she possesses as well. So some kind of affection there. I want her to remain in power. Something, the younger... The boy that died as well, the child. Thus, I'm going to take out Lishu. Because apparently there's another consort coming. I don't know who that is, obviously. So apparently there's another one coming. We need to vacate a spot. She needs to die. But then why was Lishu hanging around the Garnet Pavilion like that? What was that about? Why was she at fucking Arduo's place? And they looked like they were sneaking around, and it was only her and the taster. What was that about? Anyway, everything's kind of melding together a little bit more. We're also... It seemed like we were implying something about the servant that committed suicide. So sure. Okay. Sure. Alright, let's jump into the next one, shall we? That sounds like a plan. Yeah, I'm interested to watch these episodes again once 11 is done as well. So I'm interested to go back through tomorrow and see what's going on. Because I think putting it all together and putting together all these little hints here and there that's going to be quite rewarding, I feel. Anyway, let's get episode 11 up and get started then. Radio episode 11 up there, ready to go. 22 minutes and 50 seconds, of course, so sync up accordingly with your own copy, using the subs please version, of course, as well as that picture in the description below. So yeah, let's give it a 3, 2, 1. Radio, 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, obviously the big reveal from the end of last episode was around the father, and that's kind of why he was talking that way when she was asleep, the Palace, because he had some previous, I guess, relation there. He had a previous role at that place. Yeah, specifically with like a doctor. He was like responsible for like he was like a midwife. Does that make any sense? I think that was the implication. Anyway, I could be wrong. Either way, he was a doctor. He was somebody pretty high up in the whole system there. There was already some previous connections that Mama made between some of the herbs around as well, which is obviously thematically relevant too. So true. Flower of some kind. True. Reducing 2 to 1 is ominous as an episode title. Yeah. What's in the box? What's in the box? Let me know. That was ominous. Honey toast? Yeah, you guys are getting kicked out. That was another connection I was making as well, yeah. Good argument. There you go. I see. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Two childbirths at the same damn time. Interesting. Sorry, but there's not two of him? Wait, he was then expelled. Yeah, she's changed, huh? Flower. Sure. She's very aware. Well, that's terrible. Okay. He seems fine. Yeah, that's terrible. You just didn't know. Oh, okay, so that's your personal connection as well. I see. And that's the motivation. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay, gotcha. Time to murder. Ugh, eyes. Okay, well, we got your ass. Oh, uh, yeah, you're fucking scary as. Tension. No? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I understand why you make the decisions that you made. Yeah. Love the voice acting there. Yeah. That's terrible. Love the music. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Explain. I sure. You're gonna do something. But then you saw her leaving, okay? I would be too. Emotionally exhausting. Oh, she had that vest on. Let's go. She's so cool. Just lie. I think I see what we did there. Damn. It's literally poison. Don't do that, right? Or not. Yeah. I'm just eating poison. Yeah. Exactly correct. Protecting that side of her honor, which is more important. Oh, and then, yeah, connecting the themes there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's probably all that poison you had earlier. I'm cognizant of Ardua on the wall, drinking in the stars and so forth before. So maybe we're bringing it back to that now. Crescent moon. Yeah, you're in the same spot. Thought she might have been. Sup? Oh, drink? Yeah. Fucking hell yeah. Yeah. Huh. Interesting. It's like she was forced into a role. Pour some out. We are all one and the same. Okay, bye. I like that scene though. A lot said with a little. Oh, explain? Yeah. But how do you explain the fingers? I think it's Jinshu. Thought it might have been. You're slurring your words a little bit. What? Yeah, it's like you're fucking drunk or some shit. Yeah, thought so. I know of one. Hmm. Indeed. How would you thank him? Bro is crying? Explain. That's fun. Is he just a sappy drunk, or is there more going on between you two? That's nice. Okay, bye. What? What are you talking about? What? Alright, what the fuck is going on? Maybe. I don't know. Oh, great shot. This shit's good. Sucks to be Lishu. The one person I actually like is going. Storm clouds on the horizon? That bodes poorly. What? Alright, I don't know what that last part is. What the fuck? Was that a name that was on one of the... What? I've got no idea what that last thing was. Also, that crack theory about swapping babies? What are you talking about? Because again, the implication there would be that the Jinchi and Ardua are related. But there's some baby swapping shenanigans too. I need to reread that. Maybe we'll start tomorrow by giving that a reread. I think that's probably the best spot to go, just so I have my ducks in order. But again, she ends it with the same thing she always ends it with, which is like, that's a fucking nonsense theory. I'm talking absolute bollocks. I'm talking absolute porridge. That's what she says. Is she talking porridge, or is she talking the truth? I do not know. And that is hurting me. It makes sense, though. They were implying some stuff to that direction. It makes sense that those two would meet and then drink because they both have to hide their secret, but they want to say their final goodbye. And then that would explain Jinchi's emotional state after getting drunk. Again, that connection now makes sense. Again, I'll need to reread it. I was more shocked in the moment of what the fuck we were even doing. Okay. And yeah, I don't know what the implication of the wooden tablet was. Well, that was a lot. Yeah, again, as I said, we'll reread that last scene again, probably first. That's the first thing we're going to do when we come back tomorrow. But yeah, it felt very. This episode in particular, episode 11, was very explainy, but in a way that I found I appreciated it. We just kind of laid all the cards on the table. There was a lot of tension in the mystery, right? And just letting a little bit of it release is really good. So yeah, I found that enjoyable. Almost like Danganronpa-esque. I'm going to explain every element of this mystery. We have all the clues in front of us. We just need to like put it together. And I'm just going to explain it to somebody for felt like 10 minutes or so. There's a tragedy there, deep tragedy, to a lot of characters too. I'm really feeling the emotional side over these past 2 episodes, I would say. So yeah, good. That is good. It's good that I'm invested emotionally. So yeah, I'll be back tomorrow and we'll talk about it some more. But thanks for being here thus far. So that was episodes 10 and 11 of the Apothecary Diaries. We're back. It's the next day here, of course. And we're going to do a little bit of an unconventional order, as I said yesterday. We're going to go back and look at this scene at the almost very end of episode 11 first. We're going to go back and have a reread here and see what we're even talking about. That way we know the end point of the mystery, or at least one of them, right? And we can go back and backfill a couple of things and talk about them, right? Because there was some baby swapping shenanigans. I don't know what all that was about, but and then even the very ending scene with the wooden tablet, I don't know what that's about either. Anyway, let's observe here. So this is framed as somewhat of a eureka moment for Mao Mao. She looks at both Jinchi and Arduo in the same room and says, "Oh, they actually look very similar." Again, predicated on your more masculine-leaning appearance, and you're a bit of a pretty boy. So again, meeting in the middle a little bit, they look very similar. Wait, they kind of look really, really similar. What's that about? These two might as well swap outfits, and then of course we have all the stuff about the babies, of course, and the events there and so forth. Let's continue to read. The specific language used by Arduo here, left me instead of died, so my son didn't die, per se. Just left me. My son had to leave. You could almost interpret that to say that he's still alive, concubine Arduo's child, and then the Empress Dowager, and again, I don't know how to say it. The Emperor's mum, her child, right? So did those babies potentially get swapped? Okay. Now let's talk about this. So, 1. This is obviously playing off of episode 8. It works very, very similarly, right? Where we see this initial mystery, right? Which has a solution. We go forth and find one solution. But then Mao Mao, being Mao Mao, continues to think about it and all the little things that didn't add up in the mystery and puts together a theory in her own head about how the mystery goes even deeper, right? In episode 8, this was regarding, I guess, that whole kind of brothel being against that one guy, right? And trying to kill him and it being an elaborate plot. And that could have gone even deeper because, again, that guy had connections. He was important. Were they employed to do so? What was the underlying emotion there, really? Did another party maybe benefit off their emotional dissatisfaction with this guy? Again, it goes deeper. Mao Mao has to pull herself back, right? These two sides of her personality fighting against each other, right? There's one that's inherently curious and has a curious mind and wants to get to the truth and the bottom of the mystery and everything, and then a little bit more of the lessons that the father has learned that's imparting to Mao Mao. That's like, hey, this shit goes too deep. You're just a commoner. You don't need to know about this kind of stuff. And if you do start to learn about this kind of stuff and show that you know this kind of stuff, you will be killed. Because this is a game of life and death, really. It's a game of immense power. A Game of Thrones, one may say. So again, she can't stop herself when she starts doing this kind of stuff. And that's the drama for Mao Mao, right? This seems plausible, based on the evidence we've seen and all the loose plot threads and whatever, right? But she can't pursue this anymore. She may pursue it in the future, but she can't pursue this right now. She has to pull herself back from it. She has to write it off in her own head. She has to say it's preposterous and so forth, right? So again, similar structure to episode 8. We have this initial mystery, the honey, the initial poisoning of Li Shu and so forth, the burnt hands and whatever. And in discovering information about that, we see that the plot runs even deeper and there were connections behind the scenes that we didn't even know about. But again, I have to drop it. So, again, way more to the specifics. If we're swapping babies, right? So Arduo had a baby. That baby is implied to be Jinshi. If that baby is then swapped over here, then that would be the Emperor's brother, but not really the Emperor's brother, because it's Jinshi. That also explains at the garden party when the Emperor's brother wasn't there, because it was Jinshi who was doing some other bullshit, right? Now again, why is the Emperor's brother a eunuch? What has happened there in the past that has led to that occurring? Why is he working at the rear palace rather than being, I don't know, anything else? That again, it goes deeper. It's more and more questions, you know? Again, even if I'm reading this scene correct, I should continue here, actually. Oh, I see. Okay, so this is the motivation for Arduo, right? So during her childbirth of birthing Jinshi, apparently, she sees that we take Mao Mao's father, the guy, the doctor, we take him over to the Emperor's mum. She takes priority. She's more important. If I want my son to have a better life than the life that I could give him, right, then I got to give him over there. Inadvertently saving his life from the honey stuff as well, which is very interesting too. Maybe she wasn't in the right state of mind for deciding such a thing, but if the decision resulted in her son surviving, then surely it was worth it. Look at, again, this is little Jinshi, right? What if somebody found out that the babies were swapped? If that was after the fact, well after the fact, then that would explain why Dad would be physically punished for not noticing. Is that why he has a walking stick? Maybe. And again, this having explicit ties to Mao Mao and her own family personal connections based on that doctor being involved, her father, that's interesting too, because that ties her into the mystery and gives her a little bit more of a personal element. It gives her a reason to personally investigate there and be forthright about it, as opposed to letting it lie as it is, which she's trying to do right now. If that were the case, it would explain why the Emperor's younger brother is in a delicate position, and why Arduo stayed in the rear palace so long, when, again, she knew the circumstances there, she knew what was up, right? Again, she knew her place there. No, but this can't be correct. Okay, hang on. So, what's happening with the Emperor's brother? Because I went back to episode 6 here, and the exposition that Mao Mao receives is that, hey, the Emperor's brother's supposed to be here, but the rumor is that the brother is too sick to leave the house. Okay, and that's been going on for a long time. Fair enough. Maybe you could link that into somebody else in Mao Mao's personal life that is too sick to leave the house. So what gives? So, two theories. One is the initial one I had, which is that Jinshi is the Emperor's brother, and the reason he's too sick to leave the house is that nobody actually knows this secret, except for a few select people. Thus, Jinshi can operate as Jinshi, nobody knowing who he truly is except for a select few, such as Gao Shun and others. Or there's another guy that is like the scapegoat. He's like sitting in there. Everybody thinks he's the brother, but in reality, he's just somebody standing in place whilst Jinshi actually does what he does. Because the baby really died, the one with the honey, right? That was actually the Emperor's brother. That was actually important. He died, right? It's very, very heavily implied that he actually died. Because I was thinking for a second that maybe he was alive but too sick. But that doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's definitely nobody's seen the Emperor's brother in ages, and actually it's just Jinshi, and now Mao Mao is one of the few people that have figured out the big secret of the rear palace, right? That's probably correct. Let's go with that. It is impossible to know, and maybe I'm not meant to. Hang on, I should have let the scene play some more. I think he was here until a few moments ago, though? What? Yeah, there must be a scapegoat. There must be somebody sitting in place. Unless Mao Mao's theory is incorrect. What? I don't understand. I don't understand. Okay. Who is the Emperor's brother? Who? Who do people think his brother is? Because, you know, everybody knows who Jinshi is, correct? Everybody. So it couldn't be Jinshi sitting up there, otherwise you would put two and two together and you just say it was Jinshi. That wouldn't make any sense. Which means there must be somebody standing in his place, where everybody thinks that's the brother. But in reality, it's Jinshi. But in reality, it's actually fucking nobody because the brother's dead, because he had the honey when he was a little boy. I am very confused. This has confused me. I thought I had it altogether, but I do not. But again, writing it off at the very end. This is complete nonsense, an idiotic delusion of a story. So, it's not. It makes perfect sense to me and kind of fits perfectly with everything else that's gone on. We didn't even talk about, well, we will talk about it, but the scene over here where Jinchi's crying at night and Arduo is, washing away her sorrows and those two drinking together and so forth, that makes sense now. That has a lot more weight onto it. It explains the Emperor's brother thing. It explains the dad and his Mao Mao's father and his particular feelings about the Rear Palace. It explains a lot of things, right? So I'm thinking it makes sense. You're just writing this off as delusion because you don't want to get involved. Fair enough. However, I am waiting for a moment where we make up a story like this and it's actually wrong, and Mao Mao has to confront that she's not as good as she thinks she is, I guess, right? Again, just because we're here, we'll let this play out because this is pretty important for Li Shu as well. I really feel for her. She gets bullied, like, by everybody. Everybody doesn't like her for no reason other than they think that she's spoiled, which is a bad reason because she's not really spoiled because she has no friends. And then again, this one mother figure to her, the one person that she actually likes in the Rear Palace, disappearing, going away. That's no good. We don't like that. Buoyed with this amazing kind of rotating shot there as well. Just, yeah, lots and lots of good details here. And a really poignant moment in the dialogue here as well. At that moment, her masculine, noble face suddenly took on the expression of a mother, right? She kind of changed who she was in the presence of another to be what she needed to be to this person, right? Again, never really having that chance to be a mother of her own, right? Seeing a lot of her motherly feelings, again, projected onto Li Shu. They needed each other as much as each other needed each other. Does that make any sense? They both needed each other. It's really nice. And then Mao Mao walks away into the metaphor. She walks away into the cloudy day. The storm clouds are brewing. Something is on the horizon that is bad for Mao Mao. That's what we imply by these wooden tablets at the very end. Here's the list of Feng Ming's family and those connected to them. I heard she was kidnapped and sold off, but what? So what? Feng Ming's family? What? 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 I don't understand that at all. What is this implying? What do you mean family? What is... Can I listen to the dialogue? Am I good enough at Japanese? We'll see. No, I can't hear a specific word that would give me an indicator as to what they're meaning by this. Feng Ming's family and those connected to them. What? What? Yeah. Okay. Sure. That's another can of worms. We're going to drop that for now. Now we're going to go back to the start of episode 10 and put together this whole mystery about the honey and the poisonings and why Feng Ming's doing what she's doing. So again, now that all these cards are on the table by the very end, it makes Feng Ming's actions very interesting, right? Because she inadvertently uses honey to, again, she doesn't want to, she accidentally does this, to kill the Emperor's brother, to kill somebody way more important than just Arduo's child, right? But again, the tragedy there is I don't think Feng Ming would be as distraught about it if she just thought it was some other baby and not specifically Arduo's baby, considering her connection to her, right? So she's kind of... It reminds me of the food taster, right? Who tried to do something one way but inadvertently saved another person another way, right? Like, sometimes your actions, based on you not knowing everything that's going on behind the scenes, are the exact opposite of what you want to do. Who would have thought that Arduo swapping babies, and that leading to that baby eventually being accidentally killed by her number one person accidentally? You know what I mean? Like, who would have thought that that would have led to that? You know? Again, predicated on if this story that's said through here makes sense. Which I'm pretty sure it does. I'm pretty sure it makes sense to me. Anyway, episode 10, let's get that up. Episode 10 starts with an interesting, again, opening scene here, right? We have Arduo. She's on the kind of wall, all alone at night, having a drink by herself, right? This is also the wall that it's implied that the servant committed suicide off of, right? And for a long time, it was committed suicide. But it seems as though by the very end that it was actually committed suicide. A sacrifice made that she didn't really want made, right? Somebody having to die for her sake, which she doesn't like, right? She's essentially on the wall drinking, pouring one out for this person. That's why she's here right now. It also builds up the, I guess you would say, visual element of the stars, which is brought back at the very end as well, when we're drinking during episode 11. And these stars directly, again, metaphorically representing these sacrifices that others have made for me, and the kind of lives that were taken and so forth, right? Everyone loves just hanging out on top of the walls, right? And again, it's pretty direct here. Now we immediately start talking about the suicide. It's pretty clear that the first scene and the second scene is connected. The episode name is Honey as well. Again, I've expressed my affections for this relationship in the past. So low maintenance. I love Xiaolan here. She just says stuff and then we go our separate ways and she doesn't get involved and we don't make her get involved. She just gives information, we share food and we hang for a bit. Good character. Very good character. Essentially here she's telling, again, almost like a Vox Populi interview on the street. What did you think happened with the suicide? I think it was Arduo and her camp, and she was the one that poisoned the person, and that's why she had to commit suicide, and that's why they shut her up, and so forth. Get some ideas in the audience's head, get some ideas in Mao Mao's head that, again, once you're pushed towards the Garnet Pavilion, you find out a little bit more and start to piece something a little bit more concrete together. We start off with a lot of exposition here. So, 1, Arduo is going to be replaced with a new consort relatively soon, right? We know this. 2, she is 1 year older than the Emperor. Now, what does every other consort have in common? They're all younger than the Emperor. She's outliving her usefulness, so to speak, as a woman, which, again, is a very bad way to speak about it, of course. And again, we explain the context here about the male baby that was lost back in the day. And again, can she have babies anymore? Can she not? Does she even want to with the Emperor? Was it out of obligation? Why would she want to make another baby when her son's still alive? Anyway, we'll get into it. But, of course, this conversation about a consort with a dead male baby gets us to speaking about Lifa. Can she even have another baby? What is she going to go down a similar fate? Does she want to go down a similar fate? Who knows? Again, we will see. Again, as I said in the reaction, it's a pretty cynical and sad look at femininity as it exists. Hello, baby machine. You will now be baby machine. Again, there should and ought to be more to life than that. You would think. You would hope. With a pretty direct metaphor here of a piece of fruit rotting on the tree. Very, very direct. Either way, we quickly move on to the next scene. And hey, there's going to be a tea party. We're inviting Li Shu, or she's the reason the tea party's happening, I guess. It's going to be very cordial. There's going to be no stress at all. Hence why we have to set the place up to look nice. Again, it's a very important, almost client that's coming through. We must put on appearances. Again, I just continuously feel sorry for Li Shu. Again, not the least because of this scene right here, where she's getting bullied, but more just, what kind of 14-year-old girl, is she even 14, younger, wants to be forced into such a stuffy situation all the time? So much formality and, all this tradition and stuff. You don't want to do that. I know you don't want to do that. You want to do anything else. You want to hang with Jinshi. It's not how it ought to be. Again, more talking about femininity and the difference between the sexes and so forth here. We have this conversation, why is the tension so high in this room, right? It's because every single one of us is a woman. And again, Mao Mao's kind of pontificating to herself. She's like, is this just the way it is? With a bunch of women in a room, constantly judging and thinking stuff, and can that not get overwhelming? Again, I don't have any experience here. I cannot confirm nor deny, but I don't know. Is the writer a woman? I've literally got no clue. Maybe I should look that up. Hang on. The Apothecary Diaries fandom page uses the pronoun she, so we're going to have to assume yes. She would probably know. She would probably know more than me. But again, interesting conversation in contrast to the, again, previous scene with all the childbirth stuff. Again, there being a second meaning to everything, right? Gyokyo isn't dumb. She's one of the smartest and shrewdest characters in the show. She's just watching and listening and gathering information as she does. Again, this two-faced approach to this conversation between women. You're trying to figure things out whilst putting on airs and trying to, Again, you say one thing, you think another thing. It's not exactly difficult to say. Gyokyo's actions also explicitly tying to her, again, home and the trade hub and all that. Her presence is important politically, as we've discussed before. We have Lishu's food taster here that notices Mao Mao and gets fucking frightened because it's Mao Mao and she's scary, which is fair enough. And here we see more evidence of Mao Mao's intuition, right? So she looks at the three ladies in waiting behind Lishu. They're all looking in different directions. They're all kind of not paying attention at all. That probably means the bullying is still happening, right? But again, she's like, no, I mustn't rush to conclusions before the scene itself proves her entirely correct. The bullying is still going on, as we discover. Again, Mao Mao says to herself, maybe the thing that I told Gaoshan, it wasn't correct. Maybe I gave him wrong information. Thank goodness. No, I was correct. Unfortunately, I was correct. Maybe I'm correct about other things as well. Maybe I'm always correct and don't want to pursue certain things for political reasons. More specifically, here we see why she's correct and why the bullying is occurring. We've given Lishu some honey tea. Some honey tea something with a bit of orange peel or something. I don't know. It seems like it would be pretty good though. It seems like it wouldn't be bad. Some kind of warm drink for a colder time of year, I guess. Lishu can't handle honey. And again, we learn why. Let me just tell you right now. She had honey when she was very little and it almost killed her, so now everyone's like, oh, it must be you and honey. That must be the problem. It mustn't be a thing that's with all infants and honey. Is this hang on, I'm going to Google this again. I'm doing a lot of Googling, but sure. OKKidsHealth.org. Babies younger than 1 year old should not be given honey. That's because a type of bacteria, that one, that causes infant botulism can be found in honey. Infant botulism can make muscle weakness with signs of poor sucking, a weak cry, constipation, and decreased muscle tone, floppiness. So again, I'm thinking that it would probably be worse with pure honey, which is probably what we're giving the baby, as well as this kind of exacerbating issues that would already exist with infant mortality around this time in history, right? So if infant mortality is still a fucking problem because it's, I think we said that it was like the 16th century or something, then hey, making all these things happen as well is probably going to make your baby die faster. Again, modern day, it's not as big of a thing. Apparently has a very small link. But again, it's not, they're not giving them pure honey. You're not literally feeding the baby honey. You're feeding it a honey product and then panicking because you're a parent, because why wouldn't you panic? So yeah, interesting. I found that what's the word? I learned something. That's good. So again, your ears prick up. You sigh to yourself. You don't want to have to do this, but again, you throw yourself in here feeling bad for Lishu, protecting her from the bullies, making sure that she doesn't have to drink the honey drink. Mao Mao says the drink is no good. Can we get some ginger tea instead? The bullies are unsatisfied, didn't get to see the person that they hate squirm, and Lishu gets something good to drink. Mao Mao, you're a hero. After the tea party, Mao Mao gets thrown out, of course, because they know that Jinshi's here and they want her to hang with Jinshi. We also imply here that the tea party happened entirely predicated on Jinshi and his actions, again, based off the stuff we learnt the last episode about who we're suspecting now, Fengming. You want to get more information from Mao Mao, you want to place her in this tea party and so forth, and you want to then place her in the Garnet Pavilion and use her as information gatherer person. Again, what we imply by the end of episode 11, if I'm correct, is that Jinshi and our duo are both aware of this relationship between each other as well. So you telling her to go look at the Garnet Pavilion and so forth comes with a lot of extra baggage as well. Especially you learning the information about Fengming as well. You probably would have known her quite well. There's some stuff there, I think. The show's really good because all the conversations are always dripping with subtext, right? So again, what we're not really asking why would a common servant poison concubine Lishu. What we're asking is, do you know that, Mao Mao? Do you know that? Have you figured that out yet? Because I figured that out, because I've thought about it. And I know you, Mao Mao. I know you would have figured it out as well. So it's not even do you know that? It's, are you willing to tell me that? That's what's being got at in the conversation, and that's what makes these conversations riveting, right? Is that there's extra layers to it, and again, it rewards repeat viewings, it rewards the people that are paying attention, all the stuff you really like out of it, right? Mao continues to deny, but then, again, and now I'm going to force you to learn some more stuff, go to the Garnet Pavilion, you try to figure out what's going on with this purported suicide, as well as, again, the ulterior motive here about Feng Ming and finding out more about her and so forth. I like how you flick your hair as well. Maybe another connection between you and Arduo as well. Again, Mao reads the tea leaves here. She knows that he's not asking, he's telling. I like the introduction to the Garnet Pavilion here. It feels like we're taking an element of the text analysis, right? Of a person's space, a person's home, representing who they are, and making it literal, right? We're literally reading it out. So, as, you know, the Jade Pavilion reflects Gyokyo and so forth, we have the Garnet Pavilion here reflecting Arduo. Practical and simple, yet polished and classy. Two-sided, maybe? And practical is an interesting word considering the baby swapping shenanigans, because that is a very practical answer to that problem. If I want my child to have the best life possible, this is what I would do. It's a very practical thing to do. Particular shoutouts to the characterization of Feng Ming here. I think they do a very interesting thing with her. They make her seem almost too perfectly good, to the point where I started to suspect that she actually had something terrible hiding, right? Like she ate people or something. Which isn't that far from the truth, but then we subvert that once more again. It's just tragic, really, what's happened to you. You're not a monster or anything. It was completely by accident, right? You felt forced to do something based on your circumstances and based on your emotional state more than anything else. So again, multi-layered. You have one layer, this outward phony layer that's really nice and so forth, right? You have one layer that's really sadistic and it's gone off and poisoned everybody. But when we get right down to the middle of it, she emotionally breaks down and cries. That's really what's at the center of all this. An emotional connection between you two that you feel like you have severed and wronged. And that's why you do the things that you do. Very, very interesting character. Love it. Further exposition here, we have some talk about Arduo, right? She's neither showy nor voluptuous, almost androgynous in appearance, more masculine leaning, very shoujo, gets the girls going, that kind of thing. If she dressed differently, she would pass as a civil servant. Again, another connection maybe to the Jinshi stuff. This almost looks like Jinshi, you know? Further emphasized here with Mao remarking to herself that this Arduo here maybe reminds her of somebody, right? Does that look like anybody we know? Maybe I should have thought a little bit more about this in the moment. There's so much quick stuff here, right? Because one of the first things that Mao notices, and she's done this a couple of times, is that when people put their hands up to like, and their sleeves reveal their wrists, she notices things, maybe predicated on the thing that's on her own wrist as well. She's always looking for it. So she sees some bandages there. Again, this is what connects Jinshi wanting her to go to the... Jinshi wants her to go to the Garnet Pavilion, and then she sees bandage on the arm. She's like, oh, it's the burns. Okay, now I know why Jinshi wants me to be here. Gotcha. But again, this is only shown for like half a second to the audience, but Mao notices it, right? We also must consider the pretense for why Mao and all these other servants are even here. Why are we airing everything out? Why are we doing spring cleaning? And so forth. It's because we're moving soon. And again, you've put that together from what Zhao Lam was saying as well, right? There's a new consort coming. There's only room for so many. We're kicking you out, and that's why we're doing the spring cleaning. Becomes a crucial motivation point for Feng Ming later on. Again, this is what I'm talking about. This can't help but feel phony to me. It felt phony to me in the moment, even without the external knowledge that she was behind the poisoning, or that being the direction at that point. Like, this would come off as phony regardless of anything, I think. This is the first time in a while that Mao has done much physical labor, so she's sleeping on premises, essentially. She gets her own sleeping bag and goes off and has a gay old time, of course. But she smells a sweet smell from the candle. Again, we're going to link the honey into this later on. There's a small, very quiet scene here where Mao's trying to go to sleep. Why did Jinshi send me here? You're trying to put together something. I think you already have put together something, but you're trying to deny it even now a little bit, right? It's only really when you get personally involved based on your father that you actually feel like you need to reveal some semblance of the truth. That's interesting too. That scene leads off into Mao Mao starting to question who's responsible for the poisoning, right? Would it have really been that servant that committed suicide, the thing that Xiaolan said in the start of the episode? Probably not. Mao Mao's eyes can't help but be drawn to Feng Ming even again, right? She's well past her prime, but would have made for a great housewife. She seems great at doing this kind of stuff. She seems relatively pretty, good family, so forth, right? She's about as old as Ardour, right? What gives? Why is she still here? Why hasn't she been married off or anything like that? Again, predicated on your guilt of the situation, I think. But again, we'll get into it. Storing loyalty could be a reason for the poisoning, of course. That could make Feng Ming somebody to be suspected. She's devoted to Arduo. Therefore, I'm going to poison people that threaten her presence, like this new consort, right? The one most at risk of moving on from this new consort is Arduo. What if a opening opened up? What if Li Shu died instead, right? So again, that is one motivation for Feng Ming to do what she did, to poison Li Shu. In reality, there's another motivation around the honey. So we start to put together some things here. What is an apiary? I'm going to imagine that's to do with honey, right? That's why we have so much honey, right? Feng Ming's family runs an apiary. Let me check. That's exactly correct. That's where honeybees are kept. So it's very interesting that upon seeing the honey's very expensive apparently. That's why there's so much here. Feng Ming has that connection that we then see Li Shu, right? Because we know from the previous scene that she stays away from the honey. She doesn't like the honey, right? Accompanied by just one taster, it's almost like she's here in secret. She doesn't want to be spotted. She's just kind of walking around. Again, this is your head lady in waiting as well, so she's just like your right-hand man, so to say. So again, keeping it small, keeping it tight. We're off to see Arduo, right? Because we've got a connection there, right? So again, Mao Mao starts to put some pieces into place. Honey, Li Shu, Arduo, Feng Ming. She's starting to put it together. Jinshi's then taking part in some of the honey himself, which again takes an ironic spin once we learn what happened to his counterpart, right? To the Emperor's actual brother. Interesting. Either way, Jinshi starts to push Mao Mao here a little bit more. If there was somebody who was powerful enough to contact the outside, who would it be? Feng Ming, probably. She also had burns on her arms. Why would anybody make multicolored fires? Probably a signal. Blah, 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 blah. We get to suspecting Feng Ming more and more. So here's my thing. What did the colored fire even mean? Do we even figure that out yet? I don't think we figured that out yet. But again, the burns on her arms indicates that that Feng Ming was at least relevant to some part of it. That's interesting. Oh yeah, and then we get freaky Jinshi scene. I don't really need to go into him trying to feed Mao Mao honey from his fingertips. Again, there's probably some metaphorical meaning there regarding the honey. The honey itself is a poison. I'm trying to feed you a poison. Off my fingers, there's a sexual bend to it. I don't know, man. Put the pieces into place. It's all a little bit airy-fairy and weird, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Either way, I rewatched this part in the reaction itself. I thought I was quite funny, so I'm going to give myself a pat on the back there. I also really like Gao Shun's reaction here. Like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's based. Look at the jawline on it, too. He's been mewing for centuries now. Well, it's interesting here that, so metaphorically, Jinshi is cornering Mao Mao and getting her to think about things that she wouldn't have thought about otherwise, right? Getting her to review the case, essentially, right? So, again, I'm going to fucking literally put the honey in your mouth to make you think about this, right? To make you use your Mao Mao powers and solve the case. Again, metaphorically, not literally. I think literally he's just being a bit of a weirdo. After Mao Mao has her epiphany, we have Gyokyo interrupting the situation and getting mad here. Again, they're coded to be fighting over Mao Mao as well, because they both want her expertise, of course. And we chase off Jinshi the weirdo. We both look nonplussed about the situation. This is just regular Jinshi behavior. I like Gao Shun here in the aftermath. Zhao Mao, he calls her again, which is the cute little pet name there. Hey, he feels indebted to her based on what he let Jinshi do to her, which is bad, right? Thus, I'm going to use you feeling indebted to me to get some records and figure some stuff out. Wait, first and foremost, there's this conversation with Li Shu where we learn the stuff about the honey, right? I also like this. So So, what do you want, random lady, essentially? Like, I don't know you. Then Mao Mao puts her sleeves up to her head. We see that Li Shu only notices the eyes and then figures out who it is. Again, the makeup and the freckles, they're working wonders at disguising who Mao Mao even is. And again, as soon as Li Shu recognizes who it is, she's a lot more open, right? I can kind of trust this person. She's figured out things in the past, right? We immediately go right to the question, do you dislike honey? But what we learn here is it's not a dislike. It's not an experience in the past where she got food poisoning or something from the honey and then she's off it, or it's not an allergy. It's something else entirely. She doesn't even remember why she shouldn't have honey, because it was when she was a baby. I heard it was life-threatening what happened to her, right, when she ingested honey as an infant. Since then, they thought it was an allergy or something to that effect, and then told me not to eat it. I shouldn't have it. I don't mind the taste of it. I don't have a... But I shouldn't eat it. That's what everybody tells me. So I don't eat it anymore. Again, this is based off the wrong thing. You could have been enjoying honey the entire time. But the reality of the situation is that if you're very young, it could have killed you, right? Li Shu's ladies-in-waiting try to defend her honor and say that Mao Mao is being very rude by asking her such questions. In reality, there's a two-faced motivation here. We want to continue to bully her, don't actually tell her what's going on. She thinks she has a circle of trust here, but in reality, it's a circle of deceit. And she needs some real friends. That's what makes the tragedy of the end of episode 11 hit a lot harder. You didn't have anybody in your corner. Arduo was the closest thing, and now she's gone. I feel sorry for Li Shu, continuously so. Yeah, there's this really tragic look here where she's just kind of looking around for some like guidance. Oh, I didn't know that. She's so naive, right? And that's why Mao Mao has to bring out the big guns here and say that she's on orders from Jinshi, right? Something that she doesn't want to do, use his name for anything, but she has to here to get their respect. Even the look from Gao Shun here. He knows how pathetic this all is. That's great. But what explains this reaction, right? Because then as the ladies in waiting are all going off, we actually talk with Li Shu here. Do you know Feng Ming? And how do you know her? How well do you know her, right? This causes she's terrified. Why is Li Shu terrified? Is it because Feng Ming has been probably mean to her in the past? Trying to get her away from Arduo? Because again, Li Shu would know about the honey thing. So if she let that know to Arduo, then Feng Ming would be finished. And again, Feng Ming thinks at this point that she's killed Arduo's actual son. So that would be really bad if anybody knew about that. So I want to separate these two. That's why there's an antagonistic relationship between Li Shu and Feng Ming. Probably. I'm thinking that's the case. This is the part where Gao Shun goes to the court library and gets a piece of documentation that Mao Mao asked for. And we get a small kind of Gao Shun monologue there where he just praises Mao Mao. She seems smart for her age and so forth. And then, yeah, this was the exact thing she needed to put everything together. So let's try to put some things together. 17 years ago, when the current emperor was still a prince. Okay, he had a child with Arduo. Fair enough. So again, this is based off the chain of command, right? This is why the emperor's mum took precedence, right? Because she wasn't the emperor's mum at that time. She was the empress. She was the one person. She was the one closely associated to the current emperor. Remember the creepy old man guy? That guy. So 17 years ago, timeline stuff. You are also 17 years old. Must be thinking about this, right? The current emperor himself, he is 17. Arduo would then be 18, right? Well, this is another crucial detail that I missed. It says that the current emperor and concubine Arduo are foster siblings, but we're framing this more as childhood friends, like they knew each other from way back. And there's a tragedy there of, okay, there's this male-female friendship between these two, right? They're buddy-buddy, they're probably drinking and doing all this other kind of stuff, right? But then because of their respective gender roles, they're forced into essentially marriage. I don't think they really love each other at all, but based on circumstance, hey, let's have a kid together. Because that's what we should do. That's what society says we should do. And there's some tragedy there, I think. Either way, here's the kicker. We have Dr. Luomen, who is Mao Mao's father. Is that a last name? Can we imply Mao Mao's last name from that as well? I don't know. 16 years ago, that baby died between the current emperor and Arduo. The baby was delivered by old mate. And yeah, Mao Mao admits to herself she's shocked in the moment, but I did have a hunch. Several of the herbs growing in the rear palace were the same ones I used growing up. How does that make any sense? They were probably harvested by somebody that used to be in the rear palace. Why is he tending the gardens all the time? Why is he so brilliant? Why is he this brilliant doctor that's in this back alley working as an apothecary, right? Yeah, a doctor overqualified for the position of a pleasure district apothecary. My dad used to have a life before I existed that was pretty important. So now, again, now that we know what's going on here, was Dad too busy with work and his duty that he couldn't be a good father and attend his wife's childbirth? The kind of the hierarchy there took precedence over his own personal relationships, and now he feels some amount of guilt over that. Now let's start to talk about the mother, who has been highly, very often foreshadowed for you. I think I'm just putting the timeline together. I think that it's a curious timing of things. Again, some more timeline stuff. Her dad's also a eunuch, so when did he become a eunuch? When did he have to become a eunuch? Yeah, hang on. Is he your biological dad? Because we implied that a doctor in the rear palace would need to be a eunuch, right? So that means no dick, so no conceiving of child. Fair enough. Are you not his biological daughter? Worth thinking about, I think. I don't know. We're going to find some stuff out, I think, as we continue. Maybe stuff you already know and aren't telling the audience yet. Anyway, I've spoken for an hour, and that's one episode, so let's move on to the next, which is basically a Danganronpa-esque, let's get the person in a room and just explain the mystery at them and solve it. The only difference is we don't put it in a comic format and try to, then quote it at people. I don't know, man. I'm kind of rambling. Let's get into the next one. Hopefully it should be quick. I've already done kind of that ending scene with the baby swapping and so forth. But there's some emotional highs in episode 11 as well that I must talk about too. We start the episode looking at this flower in particular. It's the poison one that she sucks on later on. So it gets to talking about a poison that outwardly looks quite pretty, quite sweet. It's a sweet poison, like honey. Again, that's the connection I think we're getting at there. Now listen, the episode is called Reducing 2 to 1, and Mao Mao's kind of looking at this flower, and then she kind of narrows her eyes, and it's like, okay, it's time to take out Feng Ming, right? She has this box, this gift box or something. A letter is what we say is inside, but we show her what's in the box, and again, we bring her off to the side to have a conversation. So I think it's the poisonous flower that's also sweet, as well as the honey. So that puts the connection in Feng Ming's head that Mao Mao's put together her secret already. It's like, okay, we better go hear her out, right? So that's pretty smart metaphorically, right? We're literally linking that flower with the honey, and then that's what ticks it off to Feng Ming that Mao Mao discovered the secret. Gotcha. We ratchet up the tension in the scene a lot. So we cut from this wide shot to a cleaver cutting some bread, right? Now, Mao Mao's come prepared. We learn later on that she's literally got like a bulletproof vest on, which is crazy. She's fucking strapped up. It's like she's gonna get rich or die trying. Mao Mao's crazy like that. We imply a lot with the cutting and the editing of the scene that Feng Ming is going to break and then stab Mao Mao and then eat her flesh. Something like that. We serve honey toast, which is a, bit of a cruel irony as well. We also noticed that a lot of luggage is packed up. It seems like what we thought was going to happen with you guys moving out is happening, and very quickly. Now, this is alarm bells for Feng Ming very early. Like, Mao Mao's already noticed the luggage. She's a smart girl. Maybe she put everything else together as well. Oh, this is another curious element, right? So I'm not particularly familiar with childbirth, pretty obviously. Her fucking uterus is broken. That being, Ardua, right? So she can't have any kids. So why is she hanging around this long? She seems like she's practical and pragmatic. Why is she still here? Again, the Jinchi reason we talk about, right? But again, talks to this tension between you two. I think the music here is also killer at keeping that tension. Shoutouts to Kevin Penkin, of course. The other element to that, of course, is the doctor that attended the birth is actually Mao Mao's father. That's what we put together the last episode. And again, you place some blame in that doctor, that quack doctor you think he is, right? That's, this terrible guy that's bad at being a doctor. You put some weight in his actions and him being dragged off to attend the other birth that was going on at the same time, you're taking correlation as causation. You thought because he wasn't there, that's what happened to Arduo, right? Because she didn't have that medical professional there as she was giving birth. So this makes you immediately antagonistic towards Mao Mao as well. But Mao Mao's going to reveal some shit and get you in the corner crying pretty soon. We accompany this with a flashback as well. We see Arduo really struggling here, and Feng Ming's the only one at her side. This would explain why she has that hate of the doctor. So baby healthy, but can't have kids anymore. Gotcha. Again, this is another reason why Jinchi is so precious, and you would make the decision you made. There's literally no other chance for me to have a child. This is my only child. I have to give him the best chance possible to have the best life. Therefore, baby swap, right? Even though I hate it, that's what I have to do. Yeah, see how the tone's completely shifted from Feng Ming here, right? She was so happy and jubilant before, now you're figuring things out. Toxic makeup isn't at play for the poisoning that took place. It's actually something else. Oh shit, she's pretty smart. She's probably figured this shit out. I love the shadows on the face here. This could almost be a reaction image. It's kind of funny as well. It's just kind of good. But yeah, great scene, fantastic scene. Had me on the edge of my seat, loved it. Oh yeah, the music's really doing heavy lifting here. So again, I've kind of explained what happens here already. We're just kind of learning it. She gave honey to the baby. The baby then struggled to stay alive. That sucks. I love how this is presented though. Again, edge of my seat, fucking... I really wish I did one episode individually this time instead of doing both back to back. I think I could have figured some more shit out, if I'm honest. Because again, this midweek slot for reacting to anime is always so killer, right? Because I do 2 9-hour shifts both days. So recording the video and editing the video and it being 2 episodes is a gargantuan task, of course. Getting that done across those 2 days. But maybe you should go one by one some weeks. I'm kind of making a pretty good pace through the show, if I'm honest. So if there are more individual episodes that are full of intrigue like this that I can then predict off of, maybe doing them one by one is better. I don't know. So I don't know if this is entirely correct from your theory as well. So Dr. Luhrmann, who's your father, he was blamed for the child dying as well. So he didn't see the signs, he didn't attend the baby as well as he should have. He'd made many mistakes. He was expelled from the rear palace. Feng Ming is literally involved in my dad being in the situation that he's in right now, right? And probably the punishment and the injury, and there's some antagonism between you two is the point. So now I'm interested in what the fucking wooden tablet means at the very end. I've got no clue. The next step to the puzzle, of course, is that at the time, Feng Ming didn't know that honey was poisonous. She only learnt that later from Li Shu, who looks to be 6 or 7 here. So years down the track. Okay, now I can't let this information leak to Arduo, otherwise she will know that I'm the one that essentially killed the baby. I feel immense guilt for that. Now I have a motivation to take you out and keep you away from Feng Ming. That explains why Li Shu had that face upon hearing the name Feng Ming as well. Makes sense. Yeah, another great face here. This is so funny. It feels like fucking Monster. What's going on here? We also explain here the relationship between Arduo and Li Shu and why you feel like you don't have a parental figure or somebody to bounce ideas off of or somebody that has your best interests in mind, and you have a complex about being a mother to a child, right? That you never got to do. You're both fulfilling each other's needs. Of course. Again, we put it together perfectly here. You're the one that poisoned the soup. But again, how does the poisoning of the soup and this situation connect to the burn and the colored fire? We still don't know, right? So there is still larger things at play. There is still larger plot stuff that hasn't been revealed yet regarding that, and I should consider that as well. Again, continuing in the scene, so much horrific tone stuff too. Love it. This shot here, the rotating shot, and then stopping right on that point. Just tension everywhere. All this seemed pretty obvious to me and kind of in the background anyway, but Feng Ming really, really liked Arduo. Like a lot. Like a lot. Is my point. So I basically swore to serve her, basically. That's all I wanted. Despite that, I took what was most precious from my most precious person from them. I feel like I've betrayed them. I don't want that to get out. there's this really sad emotional center to Fengming's actions. So again, we're backfilling here, but this is what Arduo told us in the wake of what happened, right? Do not blame yourselves for this. But later on, I learned that I'm literally to blame for this. Again, emphasized by this face from Arduo. Imagine seeing this shining, awesome person that I love so much, right? Seeing them like this, like brought down to this level because of my actions. It would send anybody insane, I think. Piling on the tragedy here, I have to listen to her cry at night. It was the will of the heavens to take my baby away from me. Yeah, it gets me in my feelings a little bit. It's really good. Well, it's really good because it's really sad. It's good. It's good fiction. So again, seeing this intimidating person, this loving person, reduced to crying like this in an egg on the floor, yeah, that's what's really at the center of all of this, right? So again, despite everything, despite literally Fengming leading to her father and the way that he is, right? Like having that personal connection there, you still go sympathetic. Reducing 2 to 1, that's the title as well, of course. So you have 2 motivations here. Let's reduce that to 1. In the end, you're still going to get fucking executed, right? But at least you won't be executed with Arduo knowing the secret, right? But in reality, there's another deeper secret on top of that, which kind of invalidates this secret. But we learn that later. Like, what you do here is really nice and charitable from Mao Mao, and I think that's respectable. Again, Mao Mao almost can't relate to this. She doesn't have someone in her heart so close that would make her react like this. She doesn't have somebody so precious to them that has something so precious to them in turn as well. That she can't relate to this feeling is my point. The only thing Mao Mao can do in this situation, love the lighting here as well. It's like the light of God coming down. Yeah, it's almost Renaissance painting. Just somebody helping somebody downtrodden. The only thing I can do is make your 2 motives and make it 1. Okay, well, the 1 motive is around, hey, Li Shu coming in, threatens Arduo, and what she has going on, right? Like, her wanting to be in the rear palace and so forth. Fengming acted on that. Acted on the Li Shu motivation of her taking the spot. Not the honey stuff. We leave the honey stuff. Nobody needs to know about the honey stuff. But again, Arduo isn't dumb. She sees Mao Mao leaving as well. Like, you probably have some inkling about what's going on as well, right? And at the very end, we have Mao Mao. She's, like, emotionally wrecked by the end of the day. So tired, like, crawling into bed. And again, that's a good excuse to show the bulletproof vest. Either way, we get mostly epilogue-y stuff here, right? Jinchi is none the wiser. He doesn't know about the honey stuff, which was the entire point. Fengming turned herself in. Perfect, right? Do you know anything about that, Mao Mao? No, I didn't do anything. However, the decision for her to leave was made ages ago. Maybe Fengming should have known that as well, so maybe that's a hole in the whole theory. The Emperor made that call. Despite them being close, it's time for you to go, essentially. It's time for me to be Emperor Boy some more. I don't know. I don't know what Mao Mao's doing here. Again, it's like metaphors and stuff, but just sucking on a poison flower. You're being a weirdo. I don't know about any of that. Again, that's the crazy part about this episode. All this stuff here should be here in the episode if there wasn't another layer to the mystery, which is insane, that I didn't see coming at all, right? Because I was pretty comfortable with it up to now. I was like, okay, I kind of see what's going on. But then, again, truth bomb gets dropped in this by the very end. I love this line here. This was the best that Fengming could hope for from a girl with no power, right? Because men have the power. Because, you know, and she's a lady in waiting. She's not a consort. She doesn't have that kind of power either. So the best she could hope for is, though her death is inevitable, though she has no control over that the people close to her don't know her darkest secrets. But again, the irony there, of course, is that, hey, it wasn't her son. It wasn't at all. This was her son. And again, this is almost that same motherly look that you have for Li Shu later on. Huh. And again, you two like meeting in secret. It's implied that you two know the relationship between each other. Either way, maybe by fate, maybe by destiny, Mao Mao can't sleep that night and has a quick conversation with Arduo, who is out on that same wall from the very start of episode 10. Now, we know what the stars represent metaphorically, right? Lives lost, destiny, people that have sacrificed themselves for me, what is in my stars, what is in my future. Reflecting upon that at night while drinking your sorrows and all these secrets remain up in the air and all the things that are left unsaid is very evocative. I really, really like this scene. Again, Arduo isn't slow. Even though we've never really had a conversation before, I think she knows your vibe, right? Even if only from Jinchi as well. So we know that you're a little bit boozy because, you know, it's your last day here, you're drinking it up, that kind of thing. Maybe that's why you slip up with this line here as well. After my son left me, I became the Emperor's friend, not his concubine, right? But I think before that as well, you're also his friend, his childhood friend, right? Yeah, I returned to being his friend. Gotcha. So again, for a small time, based on my gender, I had to be something else, but in reality, it was just platonic. I was a concubine in name only, a role given out of pity. I wanted to hand it off to someone else as soon as possible. Wasn't what I wanted in life. Why did I cling to it for so long? Well, because of your baby boy. And again, she probably would have said the same thing to anybody she met up here. She's just kind of spilling her guts. She's a little bit tipsy. Must have been cold in that water, must have been painful. Pour some out for the poor person that committed suicide on my behest. On my behalf, even though I didn't want them to. Oh, but then there's this, right? So you're pouring out that water. I thought you were pouring it into the moat, right? But not really. You're just pouring it there. It's implied... Is that implied to be Jinchi? Who's down there? I don't know who the fuck's down there. What's going on? Yeah, because that's... Hang on. Editing, chat room. We see here there's no wall in front of her, right? So then when that drop hits the bottom, it's not her tears or anything. It can't be. It has to have hit the bottom of the wall because there's no wall there in front of her. Because I think the scene wants to imply... No, it looks like her shoes. The scene wants to imply that those are tears. Maybe it's just an edit there. Yeah, because there's multiple drops and only one drop drops. I know it's semantics, but there's nobody there. Gotcha. Okay, never mind. So again, as I've explained, that servant maybe was actually a suicide. Maybe it was set up by Feng Ming herself, basically to take suspicion off of Duo herself from the poisoning, right? Because again, they've read between the lines there. They know that that would eventually fall to Duo herself. Maybe they wanted to protect her. Maybe my death, being a commoner, not being somebody important, was worth more, like keeping like her honor. Does that make any sense? Like, I would rather sacrifice my life for her honor than have her honor besmirched. And again, those two stars in the sky, regardless of Arjuo's own wishes, they're the two people that sacrifice their lives for her sake. Either way, then we have Mao Jinchi scene. I really like how you fall off the wall into Jinchi and then he just kind of fucking holds on to you like a weirdo. From this, it seems like he's kind of like that sad, touchy-feely drunk, which is bad news generally. But hey, he's got good reason to. His mum is literally going by. But again, it implies you two were drowning your sorrows together. Why? Why else would you two have that connection? Probably because they're related. Probably. Oh, there's also another element to it. So they initially met, started drinking. Arjuo then got up and went for a walk, went to her spot to drink some more, left Jinchi. But then when Arjuo returned, she's like, no, I'm good now, I've drowned my sorrows. I had somebody else to kind of vent to. I don't need to do it to you anymore. And again, Jinchi feels lonely because of this. You've kind of stolen his thunder. Gives an extra layer to this confrontation. Yeah, really kind of heart-wrenching scene here is, again, we turn Jinchi's normally got this kind of clown demeanor. He doesn't really have it anymore. He's kind of crying. He's like that sad, emotional, drunk type person. He just wants somebody to hold to keep him warm. That's all he wants. And Mao can do that at least, I think. Again, there's a sympathetic side to you, I think. That you want to hide, you want to be all nonchalant, but you do feel for people when they're feeling sad. Now, fantastically, I can now skip this and just tell you guys, hey, I've basically got what's going on already, right? I don't know about the stuff with the father's a little bit weird, so I might play that again. Okay, so we see the father here taken away. He obviously doesn't have his limp at the moment, but that's what tells you that the Empress mum, she's more important. Yeah, the doctor being moved here. So if I want my baby to have the best life, then I swap babies, right? Oh, and I can't emphasize enough how amazing this scene is. Like that turning camera there to all this stuff with these two, just lovely. I really like this relationship in the kind of in retrospect, I guess. In now knowing all that I know, this is quite tragic. This is very, very tragic. And again, we don't even know that much about Li Shu yet. So again, these storm clouds imply that something bad is on the horizon for Mao. And then we see that there's a family connection between Feng Ming and Mao herself, right? So, okay, let's read one more time. Here's the list of Feng Ming's family and those connected to them. So this would then imply that at least somewhat Feng Ming is connected to Mao Mao, right? I heard she was kidnapped and sold off, but I didn't suspect this. I didn't expect that they were connected like this. Why is it on a wooden tablet? Is that just how we communicate? It kinda is. I don't get it. What is it? What could we even possibly mean here? Is this something that Mao Mao even doesn't know? Does this imply something about the mother and the mother's side there? Would the doctor and potentially somebody related to Duo, maybe Feng Ming, related to Feng Ming, have met during their time at the Rear Palace and then hence Mao Mao? The timeline would make sense. 17 years, of course. 17 years. That's all I can kind of talk to on that. I've talked way too long about this episode as it stands right now already. But obviously very good. Obviously probably the best episode thus far. Or the best 2 episodes, the best arc, I would say. The strongest, emotionally, the strongest for... My hood's kind of all over the place, huh? I was kind of doing that the whole time. Anyway, it's the strongest at everything. It's the strongest little story. It makes everything before it now make sense. Why episodes 8 and 9 felt kind of unfinished is more thematic stuff for Mao Mao that is now being more forthrightly presented. Extremely interesting, extremely good, extremely well produced. Loved every moment. Very, very, very good stuff. Like, thank you for making me watch this show. It's good, and making me focus on it because it's good. It's telling easily one of the best stories I've seen from a show like this in a while. In a long while. It's very, very much a story show, but that's not to say that the characters aren't good as well, and it holds up its end of the bargain there. It's a really damn good story show. Anyway, I'm rambling. I need to edit this. I need to go to work. All those kind of things. Patreon, if you want to be that 1 week ahead, of course. Discord, if you want to talk to me about the show and so forth. Like the video. Subscribe. I'm going to skedaddle. Thanks for watching today. I'll catch you later. Goodbye.